Begin indeed. Hello people, Sue Jerry speaking. Welcome to Crazy Bunch WebShow's number 113. Today we're doing not one, not two, but 8 dead topics today. And then we're doing some news reports on what's been happening during the back to beginning 2020 oh yeah. Forgot I had one more. Be right back. Stand by. Back, folks. Sorry about that. I just fixed my news reports. What's going on? The Crazy Bunch Web Show's number 113. So I got all fixed now. Anyway, after we talk about some news regarding to back in the beginning, we have some major news regarding to PBS that's been struggling, and then we're going to talk about some shootings that's been happening to my local area. So let's talk about it now. So shall we? So we got for us. The first step that we have in mind is Bob Elmore. Born that name, he was an American stuntman. Born in Southern California and began working in the Wild West show and Bob Knott's Berry Farm. He began working in the stuntman during the 1980s. Began crediting on Public Police Academy 2, their first assignment in 1985. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in 1986. Uncle Buck in 1989, Casino in 1995, I was born, and later Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse by Pearl in 2003. He died on my 30th birthday. He was 65 years old, something like that. Anyways, my next step talking is to Jim Parkinson. Born that name, he was an American letters artist and type designer in Oakland, California, who was perhaps best known for designing the logo for Rolling Stone. He was born on October 23rd, 1941. Studied advertising, he was studying advertising design partners, painting, California College of Arts and Design Crafts. Wow. In Oakland, California. Graduated in 1963. In 1964, he works as a lettering artist for Hallmark cards under Myron McVeigh with that, with some coalition for Harmon Zabs with that. Afterwards, Parkinson moved back to Oakland and freelanced as a very artist doing some work for rock bands, including freelance Corewater, Chai McHale, Doobie Brothers, Kansas, etc., etc. Sign pay, advertisements, and packaging. Excuse me. In the mid-70s, Type Rowers, Dan X, introduced Parkinson to Roger Black, who was, at the time, the newly appointed art director for Rolling Stone magazine in San Francisco. Black hired Parkinson to design a series of typefaces and redesigned the logo for Rolling Stone. Wow. Although Parkinson's lettering simply was ruined an old one type, and simply for 19th century with that. And during the first part of his career, he used a pen and ink for finished pieces. In 1990, and Parkinson put away his pen and ink, embrace digital technology while working at San Francisco Chronicle. Wow, designing fonts. Parkinson's operated his independent type foundry, Parkinson Type for Design, in Oakland, California. He's more high-profile columnists, including Fast Company, Esquire, Billboard, Newsweek, the San Francisco Ambassador, and Rating Brothers, and Brian Bailey Circus, something like that. Anyways, his font design has been inspired by Larry and often by the work of William Harrison Dwiggins, including adaptations of his Metro and Edgeware for typefaces for the Chronicle and Letter Form Archive. He died on June 27, 2025 with collagen Alzheimer's disease. He was 83 years old. These are the fonts he has been using over the years. Wow. I'm not going to read all of them, but there you go. The next step topic is with Kenneth Coley. Born that name, he was a English film, television actor whose career spanned over 60 years. Wow. Ken Wire pilots through his role as omnipresent in Star Wars films, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back in 1980, Return of the Jedi in 1983. Those roles in the films of Ken Russell as Jesus and Marty Python's Life of Brain. Born in Manchester, Lancashire, England on December 7, 1937, and one of his early appearances on British television was in Noel Rowley, 1970s police drama, The Sweeney, in the episode entitled It Traps, with that. He played Jesus on the My Father's Life of Brain, Brian, something like that. Anyway. Having also appeared in the earlier Marty Python rated production Ribbon Yarns episode called The Testing of Eric of Wade, alongside Michael Pyron, something like that. A Shakespearean actor, he played the Duke of York in the BBC television Shakespeare production of Measure with Measure in 1979. In 1982, he also had a free role for Harry O. Nelson in the TV period dramas I Remember Nelson. Kelly also worked with essential British director Ken Russell from the 1970s, early 1970s to the early 1990s, as well as repeatedly actors who appear across Russell's television and film work. He played the role of Miles, I pronounced his last name, sorry, in the film The Musical of 1981. He went on to play the role of Regard in Russell's The Devils also the same year. He played the journalist Kirk in the biopic Meyer in 1984. The composer Charles Colin and probably pronounced it, sorry, was to Maya in 1975. Mr. Barnes and Russell's adaptation of The Rainbow in 1989 by D.H. Lawrence. His last role with Russell was as Cam Dryas in the film Prisoner of Horror in 1991, which dealt with Andreas' affair. His composer John Iron as in the Secret Life of Arnold Bax in 1992. For the works of Star Wars franchise, Corey's role as Owen Pat is known as different from his other ill-fated employer officers who appear alongside him in the Empire Strikes Back in 1980s. As Corey would only add to the play Imperial officer in the second Star Wars film. Spidey's role in Return of the Jedi in 1983. Corey Spidey's role as Pat in the Cartoon Network animated special Lego Star Wars Spidey Strikes Out in September 2012. Initially, Corey and Darth Vader actor David Bros had a part of it in fantasy film Jabberwocky in 1977. Corey also played a prominent role in the 1982 Clint Eastwood film Firefox, which he played a Soviet colonial attacks with the production of his Firefox and the Secret. He went on to play SS manager Paul Boyle in the Second World War drama film War in the Remembrance. Corey directed Dreams in 2007, year eligible for sport anyway. In a horror film with starring Chrissy Cox, Henry Dawn, Ben Shockley. In 2017, Corey recorded a series of short narrations of inclusions of Pop Wasteland, known by folkster band Partial Cat. Personal Life and Death. He lived with Hey Kent, like that. According to comments from which Terry Gilliam, who directed him and co-walking and acting with him and Brian, made the DVD audio commentaries for both films. Corey had a stammer in his real life, which he will have a role in film. However, he could recite the lines perfectly, starring in the character Trap. However, in this role in Accordion Man in 1978 BBC television drama Pennies for Heaven, he died from his home in Ashwood, Kent on June 30th, which was last Monday. He had brothers and fallen Van contracted COVID-19 and pneumonia. He was 87 years old. The next step topic has to do with Jim Shooter, born James Charles Shooter. He was an American writer, editor, and publisher in the comics industry. Began his career writing for DC Comics at the age of 14. He had a successful controversial run as editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics. Watch comic publishers Valiant, Buffon, and Broadway. Born on September 17, 27, something like that, 1951, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The parents, Ken and Ellie Schuer, who are in the Polish descent, something like that. Schuer read comics as a child. Further, he stopped when he was about 8 years old. He was interested in the medium with Recon in 1963. At the age of 12, he recovered in the hospital after undergoing minor surgery. Surprised by the style of Marvel Comics when he began publishing only 2 years earlier. Figured he learned to write the type of stories that Marvel published. He wanted access of DC Comics, who had books he felt needed the help. Schuer spent about a year reading and studying comics from both companies. At the age of 13, he started a career at the age of 13 in mid-1995 with DC Comics. Schuer wrote and drew stories featuring the legend of superheroes sent them to DC Comics. Wow. On February 10th, 1986, he received a phone call from editor Mort Wangster, who wanted to purchase the stories Schuer and sent convinced Schuer to write Supergirl and Superman stories. Wow, okay. Makes sense anyway. Weiser eventually offered Schuer a regular promotion in regions like that. We wanted Schuer to come to New York, wow, to spend a couple of days in his office. Schuer was 14 and living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Had to wait until school was in recess. Wow. After which he was in New York with his mother, spurring part of the need of to support his financially struggling parents. Wow. According to Schuer, his father earned a role as a steel worker. Schuer saw comic book writing as a means by helping support the family. Schuer referred in the 2010 interview stated this: my family needed money. I was doing this to save the house. My father had to beat up an old car and the engine died. Wow. This is before I started working for DC Comics. And that is with the first check I bought a rebuilt engine for his car. So he didn't have to work anymore. I was doing this because I had to. Working my way through high school to help keep my family alive. At age 14, Schuer began selling stories in DC Comics, something like that. Writing for both Action Comics and Adventure Comics. Began with Adventure Comics number 346 in July 1966, and refined pencil breakdowns as well, with adventuring styles and writing styles of DC Comics, and adventuring writing Marvel Comics. Schuer created several characters and regions of superheroes that were identified by him, being one of the few writers of DC Comics to understand the composer's successful character based on their approach. This included Rangers, Karate Kid, Feral Glad, and Princess Precious for that, as well as a villainous group known as Fatal 5. Wow. Okay. He also created the Superman villain Parasite in Action Heroes, Action Comics, number 340 in August 1966. Schuer and artist Kurt Swan devised the first race between the Flash and Superman, the two characters known for their superhuman speed, something like that. Superman's race with the Flash and Superman number 199 in August of 1997. Schuer wrote the first issue of Captain Action, October number 1998, which was DC's first toy at the time, and something like that. In 1999, Schuer was accepted at New York University, but after graduating from high school, he successfully applied to the job at Marvel Comics, like that. Unable to pursue both his studies and work with Marvel, he decided to, against the New York University, quit for DC Comics, working with DC Comics as well. While Marvel, Schuer worked with the editor and eventually pro-pilot, taking his residence at the YMCA. Wow. or after only 3 weeks, Shure gave up the post due to the financial situation and returned to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Wow. Okay. After leaving Marvel, Shure took up the work in advertising concepts, writing, and illustration, and silver for several years, supporting himself through several managerial jobs during, during periods when advertising work was unavailable. In an interview with Legion of Superheroes franchise leads again applied for both Marvel and DC. Both companies have offered him work. Shure opted to return to DC because they have offered him more projects and get assignments. Superman a chance to again write for Legion of Superheroes, now their own book, Superboy and the Regions of Superheroes. However, Shure's relationship with both Superman editor Julius Schwartz and Legion editor Murray Spalnev were unpleasant. Wow. And he claims they both forced him to be unnecessary rewrites. In December 1985, Marvel editor-in-chief Marv Wolfman called it off for Shure in the internal position. Wow. Marvel Comics. In the mid-1970s, Marvel Comics was undergoing a series of changes in production editor-in-chief after Ray Torrey Thomas stepped down as proposed for focus on writing. A succession of other editors, including Ryan Wines, Marv Wolfman, Gary Conway, and Ari Goldman, took the job during a relatively short span of time. After only defined the task due 20, as Marvel continued to grow and add new titles and a large staff to turn out material. On January 2nd, 1976, Shure joined the Marvel staff as an assistant editor and writer. With a quick turnover to the top, Shure rapidly found himself rising in the ranks. Wow. On the first working day of January 1978, he succeeded Archie Goldman to become Marvel's ninth editor-in-chief. During this period, publisher Stan Lee relocated to Los Angeles to become oversee Marvel's animation, television and film projects, leaving Shure largely in charge to a degree of decision-making at Marvel's New York City headquarters. Although there was some complaints about some of the Shure imposed a gradually style for the bullpen, he curbed many of the potential ills and Marvel. Wow. Successfully managed to keep the line of books on the schedule and with widespread practice of missed deadlines, probably known as dreaded deadline due, and new titles and develop new talent, something like that. Anyway, Shure in his 9-year tenure editor-in-chief oversaw Chris Carnett and John Bond, Newt Ronda, and the Arcade X-Men. Brian's work on Fantastic Four, Frank Miller's series of Daredevil stories, Walt Simonson's crafting on Norse Margaret with the Marvel Universe of 4, Roger Stern's drawing both Avengers and Amazing Superman, something like that. That's what's going up. In 1981, Shure bought Marvel to the larger comic book specialty market. Anyway, scroll down a little bit. Anyway, with Days of Number 1, featuring a disco theme, heroine ties in with the X-Men, based upon an anime film that had been set to star Bo Derek. The first issue of the series was sold only through specialty stories. By then, newsstand spared rack. They were distributed altogether. Originated by Marvel's the growing comics shop sector. Okay, so included issues of Dazzler was sold through newsstand, returnable accounts as well. Dazzler was the first direct sales only ongoing series of a major publisher. Something like that. Other Marvel pop titles such as Marvel Fanfare and Kazar soon fall. Later that same year, Schuer wrote Marvel Treasury Edition number 28, which features the second Superman and Superman company crossover. In addition, in 1981, Schuer was recognized as one of the 6 New Yorkers of the Year by the New York chapter of the JGs for his accommodations for tours, with evaluations for the comics industry and helping Marvel Comics achieve a new pinnacle of success. Schuer also acknowledged career royalties, starting the Epic imprint for career-owned material in 1982, and introduced comedy-wide crossover event with Marvel with Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions, something like that, and Super Secret Wars, something like that. Anyway, and launched a new, albeit a million unsuccessful, line named New Universe to commemorate Marvel's 25th anniversary in 1986. Despite his success in reviving Marvel's, Schuer angered and allied a number of long-time Marvel careers by insisting on strong initial editorial something like that, control and strict on premiere deadlines. Although he exhorted an art return program from that and pronounced it starts with I, so anyway. And permanent policy given creators royalties when their books pass for certain sales back benchmarks with that anyway. Or when characters may work on their license as toys, they gotta play toys anyway. Schuer eventually found himself with well-publicated conflicts with some writers, artists, creators such as Steve Gerber, Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, John Byrne, and Doug Moore, who left to work at the DC Comics. According to his new publisher, Jeanette Cobb, eventually taking advantage of the opportunity of other companies. Anyway, during Schuer's tenure, he forced a publicly forbidden the portrait of gay characters in the Marvel Universe. According to John Byrne, he eventually had the casual North Stars. I'm not gonna say the S word in this special episode. Sorry. Since Schuer's personality told him that portraying a gay character would not be allowed. Exactly. Marvel's nonetheless published the first gay beam story by the mainstream comics publisher for during this time, written by Schuer himself. In it, 2 gay men eventually, oh my god, Bruce Banner, Batman. Anyway, comics historian Fergus Ambaria says that Marvel's under Schuer's tenure was widely considered homophobic. Roy Thomas, who left Marvel, spawned a contract dispute with Schuer, reflecting the 2005 Schuer's editorial policy, said this. When Jim Schuer took over, for better or worse, he decided to bring things in. He wanted stories to be told the ways he wanted them told. It's not a matter of whatever Jim Schuer was right or wrong. It's a matter of a different approach. He was the editor-in-chief and had the right to impose if he wanted to. I thought it was a kind of dumb, but I don't think Jim was dumb. Exactly. I think he was approach is wrong. The approach is wrong anyway. And I think it would I think it really helped anything. John Romeo Sr. said this. Sure, I've also been great for the first 2 to 3 years. He has been a creative person, treated with more respect. Guys set to combinations from first class with our ways paid, and we have got thought that it was more of him. The Secret Wars was a big hit, and after that, he decided he knew anything he started changing everything. He stopped. John Burns said sorry did this. Something came about when Marvel needed him, but he stayed too long. I don't know what to do next to it. Having fixed about anything that was wrong, he could not stop fixing about around that time. I left to do Superman. I said I thought Sure and Dick Gordo should trade jobs. It was DC Comics that needed to fix anything then, something like that. And do so about every 5 years or so. Sure had to put Marvel in the place where all that was needed. It was kind of father figure at the helm. It was kind of not sure. Secret Wars was when the trouble was kicked into a high gear. We must not ever forget about Secret Wars became a toy position. Sure turned away with shaping the Marvel Universe into this image. Now, Sure was fired with Marvel on April 15th, 1987. Now, Varjo Comics' career began with this, okay? Sure was adventures with Ben Fowler in a new comedy called Voyager's Commissions. It was published with the comics under the name of Voyager Comics Banner. And entering the market in 1989 with comics based on Nintendo and WWF, the World Wrestling Federation for short, providing characters. 2 years later, Fowler entered the superhero market with the launch of the Gold Key Comics character Madness and Robot Fire, another Gold Key character, Sawyer, Adam was also relaunched character later that same year. Sure brought many of the Marvel careers to Violet, including Bob Lattin, Barry Windsor Smith, as well as the injuries veterans such as Don Burren. Violet also established Nob Raw, in which careers were fought how to render the company's comics in the Violet style. Eventually, over the years, Sure was required to fill the penciler on Violet's books he wrote and oversaw as editor. During this period, Violet's publishers' money and talents were offered as a premium. And Sure was reportedly forced to pencil his story and to control the fact he drew under the production of Paul Critic. The name of this book is all. Now, the last two that is Define Broadway Comics, and we'll talk about that right now. After being opposite from Boston in 1992, Sure and several co-workers went to the found Default Comics in early 1993. Okay, despite some initial success with the first title, the new comedy failed. This so as an audience and the critically crowded the direct sales market went out to business, after which 13 months of publishing, and 1995 year I was born anyway. Sure founded Broadway Comics, which was offshoot of Broadway Video, the publishing company that produced Saturday Night Live. But this line ended after Paris sold the properties of Golden Books. In 1998, he spoke of a plan itself publishing Broadway Comics, which is Project 8 titles, including On Mails and Wrath of God. Wow. Which artist Joe James scheduled to draw at least one. Sure returned to Violet by now called Acclaimed Comics, but really in 1999 to write a Philly 2000, an attempt to combine it or newer Violet universes. But Acclaimed went out of business after completion of the only 3 of the planned 6 issues. 2000 to 2025. In 2003, Jim Shooter joined Custom Comics company called Illustrated Media, something like that, as creative director and editor-in-chief. In 2005, former Marvel Comics writer Denise Wall approached Shooter to create Seven, a series based on the Kabbalash, something like that. Anyway, Shooter created a team of 7 characters, one from each commitment, who are brought together in New York because they were share high consequences, something like that. The project was been self-published by Wall. It was announced at the 2007 New York Comic Con, who debuted in July of that year, and it was a project that involved in television film projects, video games, blogs, and interactive Q&A, animation, trading cards, appeal, accessories, and school supplies. Hall was just donated a portion of her proceeds to that Spreads the Kids Foundation when the first issue was series was published. In 2007, DC Comics announced that Shooter will be a new writer of the Region of Superheroes in its Volume 5 series, beginning with issue number 37. Shooter's return to Region a little over 4 years after his previous run was the first major published comic book work in years. Shooter has co-created the new Region writer Gaslight with artist Francis Montiel, something like that. It's run on the series ended with issues number 49, something like that. One issue before the book was cancelled. Wow. Shooter was hired by Violent Entertainment, a company that bought Violent Entertainment policy and bankruptcy auction of Crane Entertainment was right at the end of 2008 into the summer of 2009. Wow. In July 2009, Dark Horse Comics announced at San Diego Comic Con that Shooter, something like that, will oversee the publishing of a new series based on go-see comic characters that for the same age of comic books, such as Torque, Dr. Sword, Madness, Robot, Fire. Well, some of them as well. Valor Suit Warrior, sure some of that. Over this movement in the right, the gold key characters of Dark Horse, as they expected to get the rights and Danny interfere with their inability to write the rights and the key characters by vanity that he would write them for Dark Horse. As Jerry 2010, Valley has given up for the lawsuit against Shooter. Wow. He summarily wrote the relaunch of Madness Robot Fire, Torbeck, and Dr. Sword series, as well as the Mighty Salmon, number of gold key characters that have not been picked up by Spike Comics for Dark Horse began in 2010. In the last years, Shooter wrote the comics editor of Freelance Wire for Custom Character Comics when that comic Illustrated Media. He was diagnosed with unremitting cancer in 2024 and died in the distance in his home in Downbeck, New York on June 30th, 2025. He was he was 73 years old. The next step topic is Michael Madsen. Born Michael Shoren Madsen, he was best known as an American actor. In addition to Fresher's combinations with Quince and Quadrans in Russia Dogs in 1992, Kill Bill 2, Volume 2 2004, Hateful Eight 2015, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2019. He was known for appearances in films in War Games in 1983, The Natural in 1984, The Doors in 1991, Film and Leads in 1991, Free Willy in 1993, Species in 1995, Years Born, Dying Bosho in 1997, Dying Every Day in 2002, Sin City in 2005, Scary Movie Number 4 in 2006. He played voice roles in various video games by Grand Theft Auto Number 3 in 2001, Narc in 2005, Industrial Arts Series from 2012 to 2017, and Crime Boss Rock City in 2023. Madsen has 7 children, including actor Chris Madsen. He was born On September 25th, 1957, Chicago, Illinois. His mother, Emily Nee Melson, was a filmmaker and now author. His father, Christian Madison, was a World War II Navy veteran and firefighter with the Chicago Fire Department. His parents divorced in the 60s when his mother left with financial world to pursue a career in the arts, encouraged by Phil Craig, Roger Ebert. He attended New Trier High School in Wazra, Illinois. His siblings are Cheryl Madison, in the job year, an Academy Award nominee, Victoria Madison. Spiritual grandparents were Danish, while his mother was Irish and Native American, something like that. His career began with this, okay? He began working in Seminole Theater Company in Chicago, while he served as first under John Marwag, something like that. Anyway, and appeared in production of Mice and Men. His first novel film role was a small part of the science fiction film War Games, and it appeared in John Mull's thriller Kill Me Again. It's incredible Miss Miller opposite Val Kilmer, Joanne Wally. In Collins Matteo's director debut film, Warriors with Dogs, Madison played Mrs. Blondie, Cole criminal Steve Buscemi's, which I saw in Charlotte's Web in a theater back in 2006. Let me just see if it's him. Yes, it's him. Let's see. Yeah, he's still alive. He's 67. But is he Charlotte's Web? Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, he's in Monsters Inc. Right? He's Randall. Yes. He's Templeton. I was right, huh? Yeah. But he is Templeton. Yeah, he is Monsters. Yeah, he's the same guy who did the... I did not know he was Randall at the time. But anyway. Received the role of Mr. Pink, okay? But, which Madison wanted to be so badly. After more scenes with Harvey Deitel. For Pulp Fiction, Madison declined the role of Vincent Vega, who wanted to John Verretta, okay? Madison starred in the crime film Donnie Brasco. He said later choice for the film's roles with that starring I'm only in for 10 minutes, but they bought my name. They bought my face to put in the DVD box with the gun. What people don't always want to understand is that I established a certain lifestyle with my family back in the days of Species and Mine Falls and Getaway. Anyways, I was about to move my 6 kids into a trailer park. Well, okay. When people offer me work, it was always the best. But I have to buy groceries and I have to put gas in the car. Madison played Assassin Bud, the brother of Bill, David Corey and Kill Bill Volume 2 in 2004. Trailer discussed an idea for the film Night Madison and Troya as by Mega Brothers. 2007, he said the film was an initiative to call Double V Vega. Was calling it unlikely now because of the age of actors and on-screen deaths of both characters. Wow. He also appeared in Oli Bowles' Blood Rain, a film that he stayed in a brilliant, it was a horrifying movie. He won Best Actor awards in the Boston Film Festival, the New York International Independent Film and Television Festival, for his performance in Strength and Honor. He played himself in the mockery being Michael Manson. Michael co-starred in Coma, a web series on Crackle. Wow. Okay. He played Jim Rager and an old friend of Jack Burger, Cracker Solomon, in the 8th season of 24. Wow. Madison starred in the comedy film. But the games began on January 5th, 2012. He entered the Sorry Big Brother house and he finished 4 plays in the commission. In February 2014, played Las Vegas model Ted Benson and Josh Evans in the film Death and the Desert. Something like that. Anyway. The screenplay was written by Johnson, something like that. Stepling, something like that. Anyway. And based on the book by Daphne Desert, something like that. Quiet by crime writer Cabby Scott, something like that. In August 2014, Manson co-starred in the Kill Bill theme music video for the song Black Widow by Iggy Azalea and featuring Rhea Ora. Anyways, Manson starred the immersive wrestling film The Hateful Eight. He was among a number of people who rumored that leaked the film's script before it got released, causing Russia to almost not make the film and eventually rewrite it. It was later revealed that Manson was not responsible to leak the script. In 2016, he played a dramatic role in former Texas Ranger Bill Ryan, the real detective on Everything Discovery Network. He was the executive producer on Villain Trump's crime drama film, The Dirt Curry Con, something like that, which was loosely inspired by Anthony Weiner. His personal life, and that's all I'm going to say for that in depth. Anyways, Manson has a daughter named Jessica with Dana Nashing. Jessica was born March 24th, 1979. His first wife was Jordan Poirier with the half-sister Cher. Manson was married in 1983, married in 1984, divorced in 1988. He was married to Desi Lyon, pronounce it? Sorry. From 1991 to, I was born in 1995. They had two sons, Kristen and Max, who were both actors. Wow. In 1996, Michael Madsen married Deanna Morgan. The couple had married in August Falls, Jamaica. Wow. While Madsen was on the break with Shuey Donnie Bosco, they had three sons. Wow. My name. Wow. They had three sons, Luke, Calvin, and Hoskins. Hoskins died by suicide in January 2022. Wow. That was shocking, I know. In February 2022, Michael Madsen was arrested on the manager trafficking charge. On August 17th, 2024, he was arrested again on battery charge after he was reportedly assaulted his wife. Really? He's bailed and settled at $20,000. Madsen was released from custody after passing the same bail. He reportedly filed a divorce with Morgan in 2024. This is sad as me, I know. After 20 years of marriage. And finally, Madsen claimed that they had been separated in 2022 after the son's hasn't suicide. Wow. It's just shocking, I know. In October 2024, he debunked rumors via Instagram that said he was filing a divorce with his wife. He said a few recent articles that have suggested my disillusionment with my marriage. I have a dark connection between my wife and the loss of her son. I was not the writer of a story in which my wife would no harm or embarrassment. Fewer added that he had no desire for divorce or blame. He had the line of hot sauce called American Badass. Wow. Charity work. Man received an award for his work with Shriners Hospital for Children in 2002. In September 2009, he announced his participation in the 26th annual Love Ride to help raise money for various charities. Malcolm Forbes, Peter Fonda, Larry Hogman, Billy Idol, Bruce Springsteen, number celebrities sorry. The events were scheduled on October 25th, 2009, but was cancelled due to poor ticket sales and the decline in sponsorship. Manson hosted an event even at Michael Madsen developed children and parents with cancer involving Children's Hospital Tyler Robinson Foundation on November 3rd, 2016. He died of cardiac arrest on his home in Marvin, Florida, California on July 3rd, 2025. He was 67 years old. He was responded by emergency responders and pronounced dead at 8:25 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. My next step topic has to do with Mark Snow, born that Martin Foreman. He was an American composer for film and television. Among his most famous compositions and theme music for science fiction television series The X-Files. I don't know what to do next. So, working in the series for the show's initial 9 seasons run from 1993 to 2001. He will return to the show's revival for 2015 and 2018. Okay, that's good. Anyways, initially he composed the score for 2 feature films in the short-lived spin-off series The Long Gunman. The original X-Files released as a single in the United Kingdom. Wow. It was a series on air on BBC 2 and BBC 1 in early 1996, peaking at number 2 in the UK singles charts. In addition to X-Files, Snow will serve as a composer for shows such as Smallville, Blue Bloods, Ghost Whisperer, Heart to Heart, Milliam, One Tree Hill, the 2002 revival of The Twilight Zone, and Starsky Hutch. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and born there on August 26, 1946. After graduating from high school in music and arts in 1964, he attended the Garner School. Wow. While roommate Michael Goran, Snow formed a band called All-In Detectives, while later becoming a group called New York Rockin' Roll Inseminate, well, to pronounce it. He died in his home Connecticut on Independence Day. He was 78 years old. My next step topic, which I forgot to read, and it has to do with, and I forgot to do it last week. And it has to do with Lalo Sorbian, born Boris Kolyo Sorbian. He was a great American pianist, composer, arranger, and conductor. He was best known for a large body of film and television scores, which incorporate jazz and Latin American musical elements alongside traditional organizations like that. Scorpion is best known for compositions including the themes of Mission Impossible in 1996 and Mags in 1967, as well as scores for Cool Hand Luke in 1987, Bullet in 1988, THX 11138 in 1971, Enter the Dragon 1973, Four Musketeers 1971, Force Madat, Voyage and the Dam 1976, English Landed the same year, The Marble Ore 1979, and the Rush Hour Trilogy from 1998 to 2007. He was also known for a collaboration with Clint Eastwood from the late 60s to the 1980s, part of her Dirty Harry film series. He's composed the Paramount Pictures. Wow. Fanfare used from 1976 to 2004. Love that comparison, the B music he composed it. Wow. Much better than the ones that do. Anyways, moving on. Next, he's also a 5-time Grammy Award winner. He was also nominated for 6 Academy Awards, but 4 Emmy Awards. In 2019, he received an Academy Award from the Academy Award Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences in relation to his successful career. He was born in Buenos Aires on June 21st, 1942, named Boris Kolyo. Wow. The nickname Leo was a normal domination over the second name. Wow. Kolyo was, when he came from the U.S., he changed his name to Leo legally to summarize his contract. Wow. His father released led to a second violent session to Boris Aries and for 3 decades. Wow. His father was Jewish and his mother was Catholic. Wow. Exposed him to his origins of both kinds of worship. At age 6, Scorpio began a 6-year course of study on piano and Ukraine bar bombs. Anyway, the father pianist and composed the conductor Daniel Bardam. Wow. He's also began to study piano in the Greek, Russian, inspired Andrew William, the on-time head of the Carnegie Kobayashi. Wow. In harmony with with John Carlos Paz. During this time, he is also became interested in jazz. He studied strategy and law at the University of Buenos Aires. He became more interested in music. At age 20, he successfully applied for scholarship at the College de Paris, where he studied from 1952, including Oliver Marsden from that, and Charles Collins from that. He also studied African drumming. At night, he played jazz in Paris clubs. In 1955, he's also played piano with Mandarin player Astor Piazzolla from that. Sang his country at the International Jazz Festival in Paris. Wow. 1956 and 1963, jazz composer. Wow. After returning to that country, Argentina, from that, in his 20s, from that, she also formed a jazz big band of 16 players that became a part of the popular weekly variety show Buenos Aires TV. He also began accepting film, television, and radio assignments. In 1956, he met Dizzy Gillespie, offered to write extended work for Gillespie's big band. He's also completed the work, hard to pronounce, sorry. It was piano in 1958. It was recorded in 1960. While in New York City in 1960, he's also met Gillespie, who has been at the time disbanded his big band for professional reasons. He also invited Gillespie Scorpion from the field of graduate piano chair of the quiet. He also immediately accepted and moved to New York City as Gillespie's pianist and arranger. He also wrote a second extended composer for Gillespie for the new project, of which was recorded in 1982. On May 26, 1983, the recorded album Buenos Aires Blues, with Duke Ellington's auto saxophonist Johnny Hodge who wrote two compositions for the album, Jerry Blues and the title track B.A. Blues. 1984 and 1989 film composer. Wow, okay. In 1983 to MGM, who have started under contract of a composer for his first Hollywood film assignment, which was the African adventure Rhino. He moved to Los Angeles. He became naturalized U.S. citizen in 1909. When scores the most recognizable and northern compilations in the Beam song for the long-time running TV series Mission Impossible. That started in 1986. And Invention's platoon riding a common 5/4 time signature music. The matter -- what is Morse code, the letters M and I. As Silvery Servant's Beam was a hugely successful Maddox Private Eye TV show, was composed in 1987 at the Jazz Waltz. Scores composed several other jazzy and bluesy numbers over the years. Initial music for the show. His target sonic sequence was kept calling Luke's score, written in 6/4, was a long-time theme for the Eyewitness News broadcast in New York station WABC TV, and other ABC affiliates, as well as 9 News in Australia. Wow. As well as used in the 1990s. CBS Television used parts of the theme in the Say Ives soundtrack, but the golf broadcast in the 1970s and early 1980s. His score of 1968 film, Corgan's Boss, from that was began along associated with Clint Eastwood, director John Siegel. He's also a strong Jack Blues riffs embedded with Dirty Harry, which by the way, Mom's gonna love this. Main Grinch movie, yeah. I'm gonna do that, yeah. Well received jazzy buoyant score for this Peter Yates directed film was recorded in December that same year. In 1983, he incorporated folk and traditional film score appearance in the soundtrack for Bruce Lee film Enter the Dragon. Okay? He composed the score resembling sounds for China, Korea, and Japan. The soundtrack has sold over 500,000 copies. Earned the gold record. Okay? Makes sense anyway? Working score for 1983's Explorers was suggested by the film's director William Friedkin. Okay? He's also written 6 minutes of difficult and heavy music for the film trailer, but others were reportedly fired by the combination of sights and sounds. Explored by Scorpion in an interview with Warner Brothers, he said told Friedkin to trying to tone down with softer music, but Friedkin did not rely on the message. He also said this working on this film was one of the most pleasant experiences of his life. He reused the combination of other scores. In 1986, he released a single called Jaws, a version of John Williams being the Universal Pictures film Jaws, which I did want to talk about boring jokes here. I taped the 5 minutes of the movie boring jokes, but anyway, on CGI, Creed Taylor incorporated short records. Anyway, single hit 9 weeks on UK charts, peaking at number 14. He also composed the 1986 fanfare for Paramount Pictures, which is used for mainly the home video label. It was adopted for television division for 11 years later. It was renamed from CBS Paramount Television, now CBS Studios in 2006. Okay? In 1981, he wrote the music for slapstick comedy film Caveman. Okay? 1990 to 2025. Okay? In the 1990s, Sullivan wrote many of the arrangements of the Three Tenors concerts. Began their first concert in Rome in 1990, in the eve of FIFA World Cup final. In the 1998 film Tango, he returned to tango music, with which he had grown familiar while working the pianist in the mid-1950s. He brought traditional tango songs in the film, as well as introducing combinations of his own, in which tango was fused with jazz elements. He founded LF Records in 1998. He wrote the main theme for the Tom Clancy Spirits Cells Promo Tomorrow. He also made a cameo appearance in 2002 film Red Dragon. Anyway. He also widely experimented with hip-hop, which I'm not a huge hip-hop, but anyway, sorry, anyway. Trip-hop songs such as Hand Toss, Strikes, Pause, and Fresh Red Sour Times. Both songs have situations, stories, incidents, like that. One of the videos he composed were 30 episodes of the Mission Impossible television series. In 2003, he also commanded to compose a traditional work entitled Swing Impressions of Omen by Charlotte Quabos de Ben Saad. Wow. On April 23rd, 2007, he presented a concert film music of the Festival du Film Jules Verne Emery's Festival du Jules Verne at the Beatley Grand Rex Theater in Paris, France. Europe's biggest movie theater. Wow. This was recorded by festival leaders with a 73.5-minute CD named While Showing Me Concert at Paris. Wow. In 2010, he officialized account of Wild Service Creations. The theme for Mission Impossible 2 was featured in the Robin TV commercial aired in a number of countries around the planet. Wow. After Wild Instruction for the 2024 Venus World Vision Composers Contest. Anyway, Schwarman in 2024 invited him to jointly compose a symphony dedicated to the country. Wow. Composed a 35-minute symphony in the 3 movements. Singing Long Live Freedom for an orchestra of nearly 400 musicians. Intended as a tribute to Argentina. Wow. The true exploration of the nation's history over the past 40 years that fused cinematic and cultural elements. The symphony was premiered on April 5th, 2025. His personal life and death. And here it is. Schwaller was first married to Soviet scholar born in 1958. They have 2 children, marriage and divorce. He was married Donnie Cultural in 1971. They have 1 son. Wow. His wife married to his business record label. 2008, he wrote an autobiography, Mission Impossible Life in Music, summarizing this. In music, the choice of infinite. Possibilities of sound combinations with all kinds of instruments, symphony, orchestra, jazz band, chamber, some of it have not yet been exhausted, what has been done in the field of music so far has been even scratched. The surface and bass is coming to be explored. He died of complications of pneumonia at the hospital in Los Angeles on June 26, 2025. He was 93 years old. My step top has to Frederick W. Smith. Born Frederick W. Smith. He was an American business investor. Anyway. He was the founder and chairman of FedEx Corporation. Wow. The world's largest transportation company. Smith stepped down as CEO in June 2022. Was succeeded by Raj Subramanian. But that's anyway. He is commissioned one of the most successful transportation explorers in the planet. His time and his death, he was a net worth of $5.3 billion according to Forbes. Born in Marks, Mississippi on August 11, 1944, the son of James Frederick Smith, something like that. Founded the Tuttle House restaurant chain and the Smith Coach Company, renamed the Dixie Greyhound Lines, and the Greyhound Corporation bought the carriage insurance in 1921. The Edward Smith died when his son was only 4 years old. The boy was raised with his mother and uncles. Smith was crippled by bone disease at a young age, but regained his health by the age of 10. He attended elementary school, presenting day school, and Memphis in high school, and University School. Became an ambassador pilot as a teenager. In 1982, Smith entered Yale University to pursue economics. According to some sources, he wrote a paper in economics classes outlining overnight delivery. Service on which he received a C. Wow. In fact, he was in an interview, he said he did not remember the grade. Wow. Eventually, Smith became a member of the, eventually became president of Delta Judge Kappa Epsilon, DKE for short, fraternity, and the Skull Bones Secret Society. He received his bachelor's degree in economics in 1956. In college years, he was president of DKE for brother, future U.S. President George W. Bush. Wow. Smith was also friends with future U.S. Senator and Secretary of State John Kerry. To his sharing college were various were flying partners. Wow. Marine Corps service began with this. After graduation, Smith was promoted to the U.S. Marine Corps. Anyway. Served for 3 years, from 1966 until 1999. Playing tour in the Foreign Air Control, FAC for short, in South Vietnam, flying the backseat of a LV-10. Served 2 tours with duty in the Vietnam War. It was already discharged in 1909 with the Ranger Captain. It was received the Silver Star and the Bronze Star and 2 Purple Hearts. The Silver Star today reads this: the President of the United States of America takes pleasure in presenting the Silver Star to the First Lieutenant Frederick Wallace Smith. United States Marine Corps Constabularies Johnny and Strawberry in action while he's serving as a commanding officer of Company K for Company 2 Points for that 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division, connection with the operation against the enemy in the Republican Vietnam. On the morning of May 27, 1988, while conducting the search and destroy operations, Company K became heavily engaged with the North Vietnamese Army. Following a combination while researching publishers on Go Nor Island, Quine Norm, Poland, something like that. As Leon Smith led his men in the aggressive intelligence upon the enemy positions, like that. The North Vietnamese force launched determined counterattacks, like that. Supported by mortars, like that, on the Marines' left flank. Unintentional for that, rushing through the intense hostile fire, the position of heaviest contracts with that. Lieutenant Smith fiercely removing so it's hard to pronounce anyway. Causes with that for the hazardous area, wow. And shouting words of encouragement of his men, threatening their fire upon the advancing enemy soldiers with that. Successfully repulsing the hostile attack, moving body across the fire-swept the body area. The economy disregarded repeatedly North Vietnamese attempts to direct upon him as a skillfully just quality firing airstrikes upon the hostile positions. Within 50 meters of its own location, it continued to direct the movement of its unit, gradually the confusion that supporting arms were causing upon the enemy soldiers. He raced across the fire-swept battalion to the right flank to a support company and appointing attack of his larger units reached his weakest point. Wow, okay. While the North Vietnamese unit and eventually numbers colonies. Wow. And it's the greatest tackles from that and call him President Min. Anyway, SIC somewhere. Under fire, inspired it, which would observe him as well on instrumental unit of quality for the capture of 2 hostile soldiers, as well as the numerous documents and vital items of equipment. By his courage, encouragement, leadership, and following the margin to duty and great points of rest. Regiment Smith upholds the highest traditions of Marine Corps in the United States Naval Service. Wow. Now, his business career began with this hard read. But in 1970, Smith purchased a controlling interest in the aircraft maintenance company, ARC Visual Sales, and by 1971, turned its focus on the traditional use jet. In June 18, 1971, Smith founded Federal Express. Wow, with his $4 million purchase, roughly $32 million in 2025 dollars. Wow, and raised $91 million for 2020 to $1.2 million in 2025 dollars. Wow, venture capital. In 1973, the company began offering the 25 cities. Wow, okay. Shipping small packages and documents and a fleet of 14 Falcon 20 DA-20 jets. His focus was developing and encouraging air-to-ground systems. Smith developed FedEx, some of that. The business idea and shipment version of the bank query. Wow, okay. House for that. When one bank query house was located in the middle of the respective banks, and all their respective will be sent to the central location and change materials. In the early days of FedEx, Smith has got great leaps, will keep the company afloat. In one instance, after a commercial business loan was denied, he took the company's last $5,000 to Las Vegas and won $27,000 gambling and blackjacking to cover the company's $24,000 field bill. He kept FedEx alive for one more week. In 2003, Smith, along with Robert Wolfman and Dwight Slaughter purchased a minority share of Washington Redskins, an American football franchise belonging to the National Football League. The free owned of 40% of the team until 2021, when they sold their stake in the military owner Daniel Dan Snyder, following disagreement with Snyder. Okay, Smith also owned and co-owned with several owner entertainment companies such as Alcon Entertainment. Smith also served as owner of the Memphis Mad Dogs, the Canadian Football League, in 1995. He was born. Wow. He also served as a special sponsor of the 2023 revival for the Memphis Snowballs, a team that was playing in the single-entry leagues that did not have initial owners. Wow. In 2000, Smith made an appearance as himself as the Tom Hanks movie Castaway. Wow. When Hank's character was welcomed back with a film on location in Fair's home families in Memphis, Tennessee. Ziggy, favorite barber of George W. Bush. Well, at Yale, there was a speculation after Bush 2000 election where Smith would be appointed to the Bush cabinet as defense secretary. Wow. Well, Smith was Bush's first choice of position. Wow. He declined for medical reasons. Wow. Don Westbrook was named instead. Although Smith was friends with both 2004 major candidates, John Kerry and George W. Bush, Smith was chosen to ignore Bush's re-election in 2004. When Bush decided to replace Rumsfeld, Smith was offered the position again. Wow. But he declined in order to spend time with his Terry Ildar. Wow. Smith was a sponsor of Senator John McCain's 2008 presidential bid. It was named national co-chairman and his campaign nominee. Wow. Okay, that makes sense anyway. Smith was inducted as Junior Investment U.S. Bill Business Hall of Fame from that. It was awarded the Golden Plate Award of the American Academy of Achievement in 1998. It was inducted to the SMEI Sales and Marketing Hall of Fame in 2000. His other awards include CEO of the Year in 2004 by the magazine Chief Executive, and the 2008 Kellogg Award for Distinguished Leadership, presented by the Kellogg School of Management on May 29, 2008. He was also awarded the 2008 Ball Award for Business Leadership at the Franklin Institute of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His award, it was a 2011 recipient of the Tony Jerris Award for Distinguished Accommodations with Commercial Aviation. Well, CEO of FedEx 2008, he was also earned a total commission of $10,434,589. Wow. We included a base of $1,430,466 of cash, of bonds of $2,575,000. Wow. Total shot granted of $0. Wow. Options granted of $5,461,575. Wow. In June 2009, Smith expressed interest in purchasing a control share of 60% of the St. Louis Rams for Chip Rosbaugh and Lucio Rodriguez. In 2009, Smith earned a total grant of $7,740,658. Wow. While including the base salary of $1,355,028. Wow. The cash flow is $0, staff grant is $0, and option grant of $5,079,191. Wow. The option grant is a total of $1,306,439. Wow. In March 2014, Fortune ranked him 26 among the list of the world's 50th greatest leaders. Wow. In March 2022, something like that, Smith announced he would be stepped down CEO and become executive chairman. His name, longtime FedEx executive Raj Sobranian as his successor. Further experiment and car crash in January 31st, 1975. Anyway, Fred Smith exemption before he read in the federal grand jury. Wow, the suit was filed by Smith's two half-sisters. The lawsuit against Smith to force fraudulent documents with again $2 million bankroll, and it was executive with families trust funds and sold solving the final loss of $14 million. Wow. Warren Smith's arrest was issued which Smith posted bond with federal bursaries of Memphis. Wow. Smith was later found not guilty of the forgery charge. Wow. The same evening, the forgery experiments, Smith was involved in the fatal hit and he was killed by a 54-year-old handyman named George C. Schwarzschild. Smith was arrested and charged with leading a sense of car crash and driving an expired license. Ugh. Ease. He released a $250 bond. All charges were later dismissed. Wow. This is not the first time Smith was involved in a fatal car crash. During his first summer break from Yale, Smith was back in Memphis driving out of the lake with friends and was not lost control of the car he was driving, causing the vehicle to flip and killing the passenger in the front seat. The cause of the crash was never determined. Personal life and death. Smith has 10 children, including photographer William Smith Rice, film producer Molly Smith, and former Atlanta Falcons head coach and current Phillipsburg Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. His eldest son, Richard W. Smith, is a high-level executive at FedEx. He stepped down as CEO in 2022, but remained executive chairman. He died in Memphis on June 21st, 2025. He was 8 years old. Now let's do a moment of silence in regards to not 1, not 2, but 8 death topics right now. Thank you. Rest in peace, these 8 people that I just mentioned. I forgot to add these 2 death topics earlier because I was watching CBS more on YouTube, but I forgot to do it. But anyway, now let's talk about this. I'll come right. Oh, hang on. I'll talk. Anyway, let's talk about Back to the Beginning. Okay. Now, it's come to my attention that Back to the Beginning has some successful times together. Now, let's talk about the best moments from Ozzy Osbourne's Back to the Beginning farewell concert. Now, the farewell concert which I've watched all day yesterday. Special featured standout performance from Osbourne, Black Sabbath, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Jack Black, and more. Now, more than 50 years after the first performance in Birmingham, England, Ozzy Osbourne and the performing male band Black Sabbath are finally ready to retire for playing and making music. Wow. Osbourne's manager wife, Sharon, planned a grand combination of sorts, gathering the biggest names in rock and metal and play homage the band's influence during the all-day celebration and live stream event, which I watched all day yesterday, like I said. Other central groups has been guilty of going to bat in their world after calling it quits. The side show felt like both the band and the music community put a very heavy lid on both the band's legacy and will fill with love. Wow. So back in the beginning, the 10-hour concert which I've watched was held at Velvet Park, just miles from where Osbourne and his maids grew up in. It featured several announced lineup and plenty of surprises, courtesy of music director Tom Marshall. Rage Against the Machine, who started 2 supergroups from the Foundation. The shop against the kickoff at United Kingdom at 3 p.m. The live stream aired 2 hours later in the U.S. At 10 a.m. in the East Coast, 7 a.m. in the West Coast, via Roger said Mazda, followed by a Bruce Lee's turn in the Rival Sons, and then the Anthrax, the short but spirited 2-song set. Overall, the streaming experience and the success, folk fans lucky to be there, showing the importance of stadium show experience they never forget. Everyone took to the stage, but share a Savage or Ozzy's cover or two, but some probably wails of thrashing riffs were more suited to material than others. Here's some of the biggest highlights and most visual moments from the historic event, celebrating the band who made heavy metal a professional force and frontman who will forever be known as Crown Prince of Darkness. Jason Marna is the host of the most on stage in the pit. Wow. Now, early in the show, Marna proclaimed the event most every day in the history of metal, and he was clearly enjoying every second, snapping cell phone photos, videos, something like that, his favorite bands from the stage stage. He was even friend to get in the most mosh pit where he was introduced Pantera, which I'll talk about in a little bit. One of the most aggressive groups in the bill. Karen caught him during just that. Gilly bashing and bouncing around with the fans, proving that when it comes to music, this superstar truly does walk the walk. Okay? Jack Black and Wall Star Spring Kill It on Mr. Carly. Mamia's Minecraft co-stars is no, let me just say, which I talk about in Chicken Jockey and Springcast's own Chicken Jockey video, which Owen got this idea for. And it's a great idea. If you watch his Owen's review and figure out how to do this Chicken Jockey thing. But anyways, it's no stranger to the rock stage. Okay? He's one half of the music duo Timothy Steve with Kyle Gass. He's made his management's warm out with the pre-taped music video featuring Roman Mario, Tom Mario's son, Real Ian Scott and Anthrax's son. Black's versions of Ozzy's qualities may have been the waggiest of the day, but it's also the most faithful vocality, capturing Osbourne's withdraw, Ryan Kwan, quote, a bit tone, and a sensual delivery as well. But sings up the storm. Wow, that was a singing voice, and it was cute, but it's not. The only woman is the bill. The singer of the Hailstorm served about 2 retro originals, as well as a pointless take on Osbourne's classic Perry Mason. Later on, she tried to go a win over 80 solo higher Oz number Ultimate Sin. Backed by the powerhouse lineups including Extreme's number Brian Carr and the original Ozzy bandmates Axeman, Jack A.D. Lee, something like that, and drummer Mike Martin. Normal Brian Carr saves the day. Now, he might have operated the most obvious guitar playing on the bill. Not saying something that was such an important group of the front masters. He played in this all-star jam portion of the show was incredible, soulful, and certainly was incredible. So to watch. Anyway, I'm gonna spoke out. He's playing with an all-star jam portion of the show was incredible, soulful, and simply fun to watch every time he played a part of it. Especially backing to surf Dave Draymond, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Could be Sabbath Jam Sweet Leaf. Draymond was booed for some reason when he was first took a stage. We'll talk about that a little bit. By playing some of the Tory was Canby's inspired cut, which Barrett caught back in with jeers, turned to cheers. Wow. Legends lined up the Jam, Whitewood, Steven Tyler, and so much more. Wow. The Rolling Stones and Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, Marguerite all in the long road go short list. With so much on my list, and Rarely we watch Stones, guitarist Wood, Aerosmith singer Tyler, Paris Festival, Headspin, Super Jam, that also featuring Smashing Pumpkins, Bonnie Gordon, Joseph Palmer v. Brian, Travis Barker, Sammy Hager, Rivers Cars, Brian Reed. To name a few. There's one that features 8 numbers, half of which are Sabbath, Ozzy's tributes, Joyce Priest Breaking the Law, and Aerosmith hits, including the Travis Walks This Way, including into Led Zeppelin's Blah Blah Blah, Pressure the Star Shaman Session. Wow. Young Bloods make changes. Known for mostly the pop punk artist, British singer Youngblood has a way defining expressions, especially his cover songs choices. Fred Durst often recorded his version of changes accompanied by his soloist for the show. But Youngblood's take during Mel's jam was more heartfelt, was emotional feel for the shine. Similarly of the cover of Dead Boys Live on Mars a few years ago. Wow. Okay, makes sense. Now, Celebrity Storm Circle, Travis Barker, Chad Smith, and Danny Carey. Now, Prom for Prom. Okay? One of the most exciting moments in the show, featuring Toll's Danny Carey. Red Hot Chili Peppers' Chad Smith, Blink 182's Travis Barker, who play on with the against each overall one in the same song of Brody's cover but Savage some of the universe. Wow. Toll yells on his own, Hands of Doom, okay? In terms of the history of conversions, the LA band hit and out with Villa Parks with their own celebratory songs 4, 6, and 2 in the area. When they also make Savage Hand of Doom off the Paranoid and their own, thanks to singer Marlowe James Kean's virtual vocals and the band's virtual rhythm session. It might have been the best cover of the day. Wow. Guns N' Roses and Metallica, Bow Down. The final 2 performers have been the band and the tour, an hour. Okay? Each brought surprising songs, choices, and they covered the male mix. But it was incredibly on stage that was passionate to observe and absorb. Wow. Guns N' Roses and Metallica both have long and touching histories, which play in the vibe they put out. When I might have expected Metallica to kill them all, Saturday was eventually Sound Fury. The set was a bit more relaxed when they have expected. Guns N' Roses and their main singer Axl Rose was less ego-driven than we've seen them. In concert, they very much focused on the task at hand. Honoring the band with pioneer heavy metal and broke upon their floodgates for bad boys just like him. They played the Sabbath, 4 Sabbath covers, and 2 more songs. Welcome to the Jungle and Paradise City, while Metallica in their reverse, with 4 rituals, including for whom the bell tolls and Master of Puppets and 2 D-Cup 2 covers. Wow. Video shoutouts with Dolly Parton and Elton John. Watch this remix, Elton John for you. Dolly Parton, Elton John, Billy Idol, Johnny Davis, and more recorded messages for us in the band. ACDC for short, ACDC as well. Malcolm and Angus, and of course, Brian Johnson, to name a few. Anyways, showing how Sabbath inspired and impression their music. Also give tribute to Marilyn Manson, who was one of the only controversial moments in the band's and fans quickly voiced their parents' disappointment of the inclusion online. That aside, it was a nice touch in between the bands. Of course, the band bills and packages were promising the show's charity partners. We see the concert were shared inclusion involved the purse, Parsons Bargain Children's Hospital, and Acorn Children's Hospice. Person as well. Now, saw us last night and it was exciting. Volume's battle health problems for years, including Parkinson's disease, and spinal issues, like that. Osborne's vocals was blogger. Wow. And yes, he is sat on the Bat and Boshes Fall for his two closing sets. First with his band, including his minor exact wall guitar, and finally with his legendary mate with guitars Toyami plays Geezer Butler, and returning drummer Bill Ward for the solo set. Crazy Train with a high point, but it was ballad while I'm coming home, but that brought the crowd to tears and seemed to affect the singer the most in the moment. The body heads off, the bads and the rowdy, the TV family man. Osborne's pop culture credit the song, but his musicianship with what he could make him the legend. Truly it was ponderous, but his last ever performance with Black Sabbath was featured in just 4 songs only: War Pigs, N.I.B., Iron Man, and Paranoid. For all the band's memories, and the Sabbath panic were what more for the past. And then the Android's music journey wasn't dark, but dark and dangerous. It was pretty joyful, filled with fans, family, and friends. And that's all that topic. Now let's move on to another topic related to the back in the beginning. And that's, of course, I talked about this earlier. David Dorman booed during True Group set at Ozzy Osbourne's Back at the Beginning Birmingham finale. Now, this happened is by Express Tribune. Now, this happened, today. I mean, this is shocking, okay? The service frontman David Drummond was booed at Ozzy Osbourne's farewell concert amidst an ongoing political controversy. Wow. David Drummond, frontman Disturbed, was met with boos, but during this experience at Ozzy Osbourne's Back at the Beginning farewell concert on Saturday night in Birmingham. Forming the song during supergroup covering Lee, he also shared the stage with great leads when that Wakeman, Mike Ryan, David Ellison, former Metallica, Megadeth for that, Scott Ian, and Noah Marquardt. Cheers, gathered the Wally TikTok video, which I saw, I haven't seen it yet, but wow. Interrupting Damons addressed the crowd saying, "We gotta start this." Wow. According to Variety, the backlash is linked to his outspoken support with Icewolf Amity Ward Hamas. Drummond was spent part of his youth in Israel. Wow. It's probably towards IDF actions, according to Trump's official post, showing him signing unusual shells with anti-almonds and messages. Despite the frosty Republican, the overall concert drew the over 42,000 fans in Florida Park, with legendary acts playing tribute to Osbourne and Black Sabbath performing the classical covers. Hosted by Jason Gomez, the event was served as a grand finale for Osbourne's career, scoring the emotional reunion with the original Sabbath members. His performance resulted from the overwhelming support of Osbourne, who received deafening cheers during the set of fake fans for decades of royalty. Now, after that was over, and watch Jason Martin started Circle Pit during the Patera's Ozzy farewell set. I'll be right back. Stand by. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. I had to get some water. But anyway, let's get back to the show. Anyway, sent here by Wild War earlier yesterday. Sent here this. Patera needed a little help working the audience at Black Sabbath Back to Begin concert at Frizzly, but just for good measure. After event host Jason Manzia left the audience and started the mosh pit during their set. Wow, okay. Watch video the instant below. Wow. The group of metal legends, Crosshair vocalist Philip Insomnia bassist Max Brown, along with guitarist Zach Wallace, drummer Charlie Brown opened their set with various melody of Cowboys from Hell and Walk. Near the beginning of Cowboys from Hell, Warren walked up at the front of the stage, climbed over the barricade and way into the audience, where he helped irrigate the circle pit near the front of the crowd. Wow, okay. I don't know what's going on. But what else did Pantera play at the back of the game? Well, a song designed to put Pantera's set with late Abbott Brothers and his former bandmates, guitarist Dimebag Darrell and drummer Vinnie Paul. For a pair of originals, Pantera covered 2 Black Sabbath classics. Planet Caribbean, which they released on their 1994 album Far Beyond Driven, and Electric Funeral, which was recorded in 2000 Black Sabbath tribute album, Navigating Black. Wow. Anyways, Pantera on several rock metal progressions, performing Saturday's by the beginning concert at Villa Park in Black Sabbath's hometown in Birmingham, England. Other big names to follow: Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, Gloria, Alice in Chains. Various other rockers also formed a handful of groups which performed Sabbath classics. The Solar concert will end there with Ozzy Osbourne performance, live concert performance, and a reunion of original Black Sabbath lineup. Osbourne, guitarist Tony Iommi, Black bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward. It marks Ward's first performance of the band since 2005. Wow. Okay. You can see all the day's set list here. And you can also buy this Hand of Doom from 1970 to 1978 picture disc collection for $200. Wow. And that is it for the beginning topic. Now let's move on to the other topics, and this is just a couple more topics to read. First one we're going to talk about is protect my public media. Now, I haven't talked about this at all on my Friday show, but we'll talk about it now, okay, on the Crazy Bunch web show. Now, this is personal for me to talk about, okay? It's become my attention PBS is in trouble now. And when I say this, is PBS is now in trouble. Okay? I want to talk about this. It's here on protectmypublicmedia.org. Okay? Urges Congress says public media. Protect public media is more than a risk now than ever before. Despite overwhelming public obsession, the House passed a repression package of wood and $1.1 billion. It's already approved funding for public media. And naturally would strip the official service of compliance committees nationwide, cover force and radio station up the air entirely. Now, I'm a huge PBS fan since the beginning of my life, and at the time, yes, I just wanted another 50 years of PBS. We all wanted another 50 years of PBS. Yes, I just want PBS to be back on the air, okay? So, I just want PBS to be back on television since it began in the 70s, and it's been airing since, and it's been like this since 1969. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting has been founded since 1967, I believe. Yeah, and we want to get back to do PBS again, and I just wanted to make it happen. Okay? And we wanted PBS to still happen. This is want to make it we want to make it happen. So, and Robin and Jim, if we want to be here for PBS NewsHour, they want to be PBS. And I want to still make it happen. Make our voices heard for PBS. And we're going to make it happen. Okay? Stay tuned for a documentary I'm working on called #SavePBS. A documentary on PBS's struggles that'll be coming later this month here on my main channel, and will be on my second channel and my Rumble account. Be looking out for it, and yeah, it will may happen. Today going that. So that's that for that topic, and that'll be it for that one. So there you go. And let's move on to 2 more topics related to this Oakland Mall shooting that happened in Savannah. Okay? Now, it's a huge loss in the community. Woman dies following Oakland Mall shooting. Now, this happened Independence Day, okay? The woman died late Thursday or early Friday morning for heart commissions and violations by Oakland Mall shooting on Wednesday, okay? According to the Savannah Police Department, SBD for short. Anyway, Officer Tina Smith was shot on Wednesday when the shooting took place, which I'll talk about that momentarily. According to the Alco's law form, which is supposed to be Gary Marijuana Hayes' law form, shot. But anyways, WSAV has confirmed with the police that Smith was one of the three people taking the hospital with gunshot with injuries. Wow. 3 others were taken to the hospital for gunshot wounds, police said. Wow. Major John Van Johnson told News Free Friday afternoon and said he was know her family personally. Wow. This is a huge loss in the community. Personally, probably in our family, many of them I know, this is not the type of thing that the family will ever want to deal with, Johnson said. They love her, and a wife, a mother, a long-time Savannah resident. Now, of course, law enforcement. Now, it's shot. It's Hayes law enforcement. Shot. It's running the Smith family. Representative Smith sent WSAB the following statement. The law firm is to be saddened and felt that Officer Tia Smith vehemently violence for Wednesday, as the Walmart Mall has passed away. Tia Smith was shot in the mall when the shooting occurred and suffering a medical emergency at the scene. She was transferred to the Moore Hospital University Medical Center when she passed away last night. Tia Smith was the wife of Michael Smith and Zoe's mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend. She was devoted to her faith and love for Jesus Christ. Smith was also the aunt of Gay Martin Hayes, lawful, shut up. Anyway, that's not awkward, what we pronounce it. Anyway, girl manager, just, short for anyway. The Smith family represented the firm's managing partner, Joseph Gonzalez, HHQ for short. Anyway, the family requires that privacy, discretion will not be speaking to the media at this time. Police Chief Lance Garver said the shooting broke up between the two groups of people. While no arrests have been made yet, there's now 3 arrests have been made now. The SPD has been working on Chatham County's Economy's office to determine appropriate charges. One charge to be going, sticking charges that really reflect the community of each eventual involved in this. Major Johnson said. I think we have to send a very clear message not to only to take those who are engaged, but those who are totally engaged from that. This community will not be standing this type of behavior. I think that we're all her community as a fact to say that makes sure that there will be brain accountability and responsibility for those who are involved in this words of the incident. Wow. Oh man. Now we'll talk about this right now. Now, this Wednesday happened, and what we know about is this following. Stay here of this. Families of the Walmart Mall violence victim police statements. Now, Savannah Police Department confirms the death of the woman due to the heart conditions and confirms the Walmart Mall shooting. SPD said Thursday, posted on last, it was a shooting at Walmart Mall. It was shocking. This said here Wednesday night, so there you go. It was violence. Midnight Thursday, wow. Anyways, Smith's brother has some statement for that lawyer. Anyways, Youngers law firm is being sound to share that Arthur Tina Smith is a victim of the violence that occurred Wednesday at the Albert Mall has passed away. Tina Smith was shopping in the mall when the shooting occurred and discovered the medical emergency at the scene. She was transported to this mall to Margaret Health Emergency University Medical Center where she passed away Thursday night. Tina Smith was the wife of Roger Smith, by mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, friend. She believed in their faith and love of Jesus Christ. The family's privacy group will not be speaking to media at this time. Now, that's all for that topic. Now let's move on to the last topic of the day. That is for WJCL. Samantha police announced charges of mall shootout, but that has been changed their mind. SPD's ministry said 2 ministries charged in the commission with that Wednesday shooting. Now, that's now free according to my stats right now. The charges against the BLDs have not been filed. Samantha police ministry to announce charges, but they have since changed their mind, said the spokeswoman from the department Thursday afternoon. Initial report position was not released. Initial report, and most recently recorded that WJCO 222 News, which is a stupid name, sorry, nowadays. Anyway, the arrests that been made in connection to the shootout at the Rochefort Mall Wednesday that sent 3 people to the hospital, okay? 2 actually were not been identified and changed are charged with possession of a handgun under the age of 18. Wow. Savannah police has not yet said whether the initial charges are pending. And that's all for that topic, and this is a shocking moment. Please hug your loved ones in Savannah Mall, and you know what's going to happen. And that was the Crazy Bunch web show, episode number 113. Hope you enjoy your Independence Day weekend, and hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next one, which is going to be another episode of Crazy Bunch web show, episode number 114, which is going to be about, I'm not sure what the next one is yet, but anyway, it's going to be, it's exciting, so it's going to be something else. But anyway, I'm not sure what the title's going to be. It's probably from the Sunday. But anyway, till next time, so just my favorite for more Crazy Bunch web show episodes. Say out. See ya.